Hi, Russell Cummings from Horticulture The Next Generation here. I'm finding that there are a number of people who are talking to me and saying that horticulture is relatively immune to COVID-19 and that'll just be business as usual. I think that some of those people are in for a pretty rude shock. There'll be some industries that cruise along nicely and others that will will have some more challenges. So I just wanted to talk through some of the issues here. And I think the game has changed, for most businesses, and I don't think horticulture is going to be immune to that. The good thing is we're in the food industry, so we're an essential industry. But COVID-19 will cause some challenges and some problems for us. So let's just talk through those sort of things. I'm just going to highlight some of the top challenges. These are not a prescriptive list, but it's some of the key risks that I see. One is that even if you've got a viable business, that shutdown can be a bit of a risk for us, and that could just simply mean that somebody in your organisation has COVID-19 and they can take out a fair proportion of your workforce that's been in contact with them. Of course, you need to follow appropriate guidelines to make sure of what's going on, but just be mindful that health, hygiene, and all good practices are going to be really important to make sure you keep your business open and operating. And some people are, I think, treating this a little bit glibly. So just be careful. Access to labour, again, simply because there are, less travellers, less backpackers, all that sort of stuff moving around, and travel is largely restricted, that some people will not travel, and therefore you may have some problems with access to labour, particularly if you've been relying on Pacific Islander labour schemes and you haven't got those people in the country. There could be some real challenges around labour, particularly in regional areas where it may be difficult to get labour. The government seems to think that the vast group of unemployed will race out and start picking fruit and vegetables. Now they've doubled the dole, and they've got the $750 a week scheme. There's going to be a lot of people who just will stay home and play video games rather than come out and pick fruit. So access to labour could be a real challenge for you, and you need to have your ducks in a row to make sure you've got that sorted. Even though the domestic demand could still be strong from consumers wanting to buy product, remember that that we no longer have the hospitality industry and the food service industry. So no hotels, no restaurants, no airlines, schools. I'm thinking boarding schools, all that sort of stuff, school canteens, all closed down. And that will just reduce demand for product. And even if consumer demand stays reasonably strong, remember that a whole heap of our consumers are going to be on reduced incomes, so they're going to be eating a lot more staples and a lot less fruit and vegetables that's perceived as luxury, even though they may use fruit as a treat or vegetables as a treat. Just be mindful that this reduced product demand could have some impact on supply and demand and price as an effect of that, because there's simply less demand for our product, and the supply may not have changed too much. The other thing is, what are you going to do with your low quality product? So even if you can move your first and second quality stuff, what are you going to do with your composite and your third quality fruit and vegetables? How are we going to do them? Value adding could be an option for you, although it's fraught with risk as well. And be mindful that if everybody decides to value add to their product, then we're going to have a flourish of frozen, dried, processed products on the market, which will further depress prices in those areas. So be mindful that that low quality product, you might need to be a bit innovative in what you do with that. Market access, particularly in overseas export markets, can be a challenge, where there are restrictions in port movements and other things to deal with COVID-19. And also, even if you can get fruit into the country, don't forget lots of their people are in full lockdown. And you may have trouble with domestic transport. Actually, distribution domestically could be your biggest problem within some of these, particularly within Asian countries. So market access is a real issue. So stay on top of that. Linked to that pretty closely is transport and logistics. So how do we get product to market, and is going to be a challenge. Probably not so much for people in the domestic market where transport seems pretty good, but in export markets where we will have a limited number of ships, so slots on or container slots on ships, and pallet slots for air freight and all that sort of stuff, and the cost of these could vary considerably. Depending on where you're shipping to and whether that's a busy line or not, and it could be quite long delays in actually getting product, I think. So your freight forwarding agents are going to earn their money in this current 2020 season. All right, so what's next? I think some of the things we need to be doing is assessing the risks. We use a tool here called failure mode effect analysis. This is an example around an electrical thing, but we can simply come up with a whole heap of the same analysis for horticulture, and this is a tool that I've been using with my clients. It's a standard tool in the risk assessment industry, but the main thing is whether you use this tool or not, you need to sit down and assess the main risks to your business and develop, I guess, actions that are going to prioritize those. I'd be building a plan now. So I'd be building a plan that says, what are some of the scenarios, the potential scenarios moving forward? How will that impact us? And start planning for them now so that you're doing your planning in the cold, hard light of day rather than the heat of chaos. Yeah. So when things are really, really difficult, that is not the time to be doing your planning. You much better have to be a bit proactive and do your planning beforehand. So build those plans, and I'd be having 30, 60, 90 day, 180 day, 12-month plans moving forward and be adjusting them and changing them on the run. Part of that planning is you're going to need to communicate well with your market agents, with your freight forwarding and with your customers, to make sure that you are getting your fruit in there. And it may mean that you need to adapt what you're doing now. So what's worked well in the past may not work well in this COVID-19 environment. So for argument's sake, you may need to look at alternative marketing options. Look at alternative marketing options to help you market your fruit and take it to where it is, because just delivering to a standard old agent that sits there and waits for somebody to come along and buy it. Not that they all do that by any means, but that if you've got an agent like that, then you may need to go somebody who's a bit more proactive and is building programs with you into supermarkets and stuff. And you'll need to commit to these marketing arrangements. So there could be very, very different marketing arrangements for you moving forward. Now, we've got a business guide for horticulture. So this is some of the steps you need to take. And I've got clients we're just going through them and using as a checklist. Have we ticked off this? Yes, yes, yes. That's not appropriate. That's okay. But tick off this one, tick off that one, just to make sure you're dealing with and thinking of these issues. It's free. So just go to our website to download it. There's a link on the homepage where you can go and download the business guide. Look, if you're at all stressed about what's happening with your business and how you may address it, I'm really happy to have a free call with you for 30 to 60 minutes. It's a difficult time for lots of businesses, and I'm just happy to give you some time to help you maybe get some clarity about where you're heading and build a plan. No cost, no obligation. Just give me a call. Really happy to do that. If you use that link there, it takes you to my diary, which will find you a time for us to have a Zoom link or a phone link, whatever you'd like. But really happy to spend that time with you. Absolutely no cost and no hard sell. All right. Thanks very much. I hope that's been a bit useful. As usual, I'm really happy to spend some time with you and help you sort through some of these issues. I think doing the risk assessments and making sure you've got a clear plan for what you're going to do, but a plan that's flexible and adaptable is going to be really important to making sure that your business comes through COVID-19 in the best shape it possibly can. All right, all the best. Talk to you soon.